First, let's look at how Latin America is running to wealth. On the 14th of November, the Chancay port, a joint venture between China and Peru, officially opened for business. And this holds revolutionary economic and political significance for Peru and Latin America. Economically, the opening of the Chancay port has led to a substantial reduction in both time and cost associated with transporting goods from Latin America to Asia. Before this development, South America lacked convenient deep-water port along its Pacific coast. Goods from countries like Brazil, Colombia, and Peru must pass through the Panama Canal. However, the Panama Canal has a limited capacity for having only 32 cargo ships per day on average, and a significant portion of this traffic is occupied by US and European companies, which severely constrain South America's exports. Moreover, the canal has imposed insurance fees ranging from $60,000 to $200,000 USD per ship, which significantly drove up the export costs. In contrast, the Chancay port has direct access to the Pacific Ocean, and this reduced the time needed for ships to travel from Peru to China from 35 days to 23 days. With 4 docking sites and an annual capacity of 1.5 million TEUs, that's 20-foot equivalent units, the port can handle an extra 300 fully loaded cargo ships per year. This translates into an average daily export of over 40,000 tons of goods to China. With a depth of 17.8 meters, the Chancay port can hold ultra-large container ships carrying 18,000 TEUs, establishing itself as a vital transport hub and logistics center along South America's Pacific coast. According to reports from Chinese official media, this development is expected to save Peru over 20% in logistic costs, generating more than 4.5 billion USD in annual revenue and create over 8,000 jobs opportunities. China has also built a complementary road network for the Chancay port, such as a tunnel connecting the Andes Mountains to the Pan-American Highway. This allows goods from Brazil, Colombia, and Venezuela to quickly move from the Chancay port to any countries along the Pacific coast. The port is expected to increase the trade competitiveness of Latin America across the entire Pacific region. From a political perspective, the opening of the Chancay port is a major victory for the people of Latin America in resisting US hegemony, and signaling that Latin America is the US backyard is just a wishful thinking of the US politicians. However, the construction of the Chancay port was not without its challenges. Despite the continual support for its construction from former Peruvian president, the US has hyped up concerns about the port. In October 2023, the American think tank CSIS claimed that the US government was very concerned about Peru's national security. The Financial Times cited statements from General Laura Richardson, the US Southern Command, alleging that the Chancay port could definitely accommodate Chinese warships, suggesting that Peru could potentially be used by the Chinese Navy as a foothold in South America. In response to the objections from the United States, the Peruvian foreign minister pointed out that if the United States was concerned about China's foreign presence in Peru, then the US should increase its own investments in Peru. The situation worsened on the 1st of January 2024 when the Peruvian National Port Administration announced that the exclusive operating rights granted to COSCO Shipping Group in 2021 were a mistake and should be revoked. This decision was based on the Peruvian Congress' view that the Port Administration did not have the power to grant the exclusive rights to companies. However, this exclusivity was crucial for attracting further investments from COSCO. If the contract was to be broken, COSCO would be held accountable to its investors, and the Peruvian government would likely face significant compensation claims. The Chancay Port project, which was intended to be a win-win for both China and Peru, was now at risk of becoming a lose-lose situation. Based on China's non-interference policy, this dilemma was left for the Peruvian people to resolve in their own terms. Fortunately, on the 13th of May, Peruvian Congress passed an amendment to the National Port System Law with a vote of 68 in favor, 24 against, and 4 abstentions, confirming the Port Authority's right to grant exclusive operating rights to companies. On the 24th of June, the Peruvian Congress announced that the government lawyer had formally requested the judge to dismiss the civil lawsuit against the Congress, legally safeguarding Costco's exclusive operating rights over the Shanghai port. This once again boosts confidence in investors associated with Costco Shipping Group, allowing the Shanghai port to finally proceed with its original plans. On the 14th of November, the opening of Shanghai port was officially announced by the leaders of China and Peru. A gateway from Latin America to Asia opened. However, according to a report by Bloomberg on the 16th, Mauricio Claver-Carron, an advisor to the transition team, was not pleased. He claimed that any product going through Shanghai or any Chinese-owned or controlled port in the region should be subject to 60% tariff, as if the product was from China. In response, Chinese strategist Professor Wang Xiangsui pointed out that for the U.S. to improve its economy, it needs to rely more on constructive means rather than just impose tariffs. The main reason U.S. manufacturers have lost competitiveness and, in some cases, the ability to produce certain products is due to significant deindustrialization. The process resulted in a large number of technical workers and engineers leaving the workforce in the U.S. As a result, the U.S. manufacturers cannot quickly rebuild the industrial supply chains and technical expertise needed to produce these products. Imposing tariffs on Chinese products will only make them more expensive overnight, ultimately driving up the cost of living for Americans. According to a CNBC report from 2021, the U.S. bears over 90% of the cost associated with these tariffs on Chinese goods, which shows that Trump's tariff policies have hurt the U.S. economy. Unfortunately, it appears that the Trump administration has yet to learn these lessons. This situation may also explain why Latin America is more inclined to see economic cooperation with China rather than the United States.